Hello, everyone, and welcome to Scream Scene, the horror movie podcast where we watch every horror movie ever made in chronological order, and then we rank them from best to worst. My name's Ben.
And I'm Sarah.
Thank you all so much for listening today. How are you doing today, Sarah?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a pretty hot, sweaty Canadian summer day. How are you?
I'm doing well. Also, we had our 10th wedding anniversary last night relative to when we're recording this. And I'm just like feeling happy to be here with you and be doing the show and enjoying all of our long years together.
You'd think that as a vampire and a reanimated monster, that it would have been longer than 10 years because those creatures are pretty immortal. But no, only 10 years.
So far.
So far. A century to go. Well, what are we watching this week?
This week, Sarah, we're watching another Mexican horror film, which is sort of topical because as we're recording this, my work, the Calgary Cinematheque Society, is showing a series of Mexican horror films, Mexorcismo, we're calling it, but none of them as old as any of the ones we've seen so far on the podcast. It's been a bit more, I say more modern. The oldest one is from 1977.
That was going to be my question, like how old is the oldest one? And that's still like 15 years from where we are now.
Yeah. So, modern, relatively. But today we are watching El Mundo de los Vampiros from 1961, directed by Alfonso Corona Blake.
Now, we just watched a Mexican horror movie, and it did pretty good. La Marca del Muerto.
Oh, yeah. That was the one with, like, it was essentially like a Frankenstein, son of Frankenstein kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he has to help his reanimated grandfather continue to suck blood out of women. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, I've always really enjoyed the Mexican horror movies that we get to watch. They're usually a lot of fun. This movie's kind of from the team that did El Vampiro and El Ataúd del Vampiro.
Okay, so the folks who are trying to purposefully camp on the Universal style.
Yeah. It's not a sequel to those two movies. So it's the same team and it's vampires, but it's different vampires, and the vampire mythology is also a little different this time around. It has a bit of a unique spin on it here. And the story for this picture was originally concocted by Murcielago Velasquez, whose real name was Jesus Velasquez Quintero, and he was a luchador who went into the movie business.
Oh, that's fun.
He was born in 1910 and began wrestling in 1938 as El Murcielago Enmascarado. He was the second Mexican to ever wrestle in a mask after the original El Enmascarado.
Sure.
He introduced a level of theatricality to the shows. He wore a bat-like costume, and live bats were released into the audience when he entered.
That's not safe. They can give you rabies really easily. Oh my God.
In 1940, El Murcielago Enmascarado became the first masked luchador to be forced to unmask when he lost to Octavio Jauna. And nowadays, like, the bet match where the masked luchador has to unmask if they lose is like the highest, most prestigious win you can get in Lucha Libre, like even beyond winning a championship belt or something. And after he was unmasked, that's when he started going by Murcielago Velasquez. He retired from wrestling in 1955, and he got into movies in 1957 when he appeared as a wrestler in Ladrón de Cadáveres, The Body Snatcher, which we've seen before, which was kind of What If Frankenstein but Luchador?
Yeah.
And then he played a villain called El Murcielago in La Momia Azteca.
Yeah.
And while he often played villains in the lucha movies of the 1960s, he got into writing as well as he got older, including the story of this film, and he continued to write scripts until his death in 1972.
Cool.
Now, the screenplay was then developed by Alfredo Salazar.
Oh, yeah.
He is the brother of Abel Salazar, who starred and produced in the earlier vampire movies.
As the vampire for most of them.
No. Abel Salazar played the hero in those.
Okay. My mistake.
That's okay. He doesn't appear in this movie. He just produces it. So no appearance from Abel Salazar, but his brother, Alfredo Salazar, also co-wrote La Bruja, the 3 Aztec mummy movies, El Ataúd del Vampiro, also El Hombre y el Monstruo, which Abel Salazar also appeared in. Also working on the script for this was Ramon Obon, who wrote El Vampiro, El Ataúd del Vampiro, Misterios de Ultratumba, and Raúl Centeno contributed as well, and he worked on El Ataúd del Vampiro and El Hombre y el Monstruo, so
yeah,
it's all just like the guys who've been making these movies.
Yeah, they enjoy what they do, so they are going to keep doing it.
Right, exactly. The picture was directed by Alfonso Corona Blake, who was born in 1919 and directed 27 films from 1956 to 1971, including a couple of Santo pictures after this, like I think he did El Santo versus the Vampire Woman and another one that I'm forgetting because there's
a lot
of those movies. And he passed away in 1999.
Okay.
Our vampire this time is played by Argentinian actor Guillermo Murray, who was born in Buenos Aires in 1927. His opponent, the hero of this film, is a musician played by Mauricio Garcés, who was born Mauricio Ferez Yazbek in 1926 and began acting in 1950 thanks to his uncle, producer Jose Yazbek. He adopted the last name Garcés to emulate his idols Clark Gable, Gary Cooper, and Cary Grant, because he thought there was something about it like a G name that just made you like more dashing.
Sure. I mean, Clark Gable's whole deal is manufactured, so...
Yeah, and Cary Grant as well. Now, Mauricio Garcés's entire like on-screen persona was typically as an elegant, gallant, worldly, romantic silver fox. However, in real life, he lived with his mother his whole life, and he never had any long-term romantic relationships, leading to rumors that he was gay, which I cannot confirm or deny. What I can say about him is that he had a really bad gambling problem, and he lost most of his money in gambling, and he passed away in 1989.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah. But for a while in the 1960s, he was like the
guy.
The guy, yeah. Very much in the Clark Gable mold. El Mundo de los Vampiros was released in Mexico on November 2nd, 1961. It found its way to America in a dubbed form in 1965. It's never really gotten like a good home video release in North America. You know, Casa Negra was going to do a DVD release a few years ago, but then that company went belly up.
So how are we watching this?
Well, there's a really good quality YouTube upload from a Mexican film channel on YouTube, but it doesn't have any English subtitles. There is a slightly less good quality upload on the Internet Archive that does have English subtitles. So that's what we're going to be watching. But if you can speak Spanish, I recommend the YouTube upload because the movie just like looks better, but it's also important to be able to understand what's going on. So yeah, so I'll link the like nice high quality version in our YouTube playlist, but if you want subtitles, look it up on the Internet Archive.
Well, folks, hopefully either you understand Spanish or you can find a copy. You can find our playlist on our website at screamscenepodcast.com. Next, you're going to hear a brief musical interlude, and when we come back, we will discuss El Mundo de los Vampiros from 1961, directed by Alfonso Corona Blake.
See you on the other side, everybody.
Welcome back to Scream Scene. We just finished watching El Mundo de los Vampiros from 1961, directed by Alfonso Corona Blake. Ben, what are your first thoughts?
This was fine.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got 80 minutes to kill and a campy Mexican vampire movie from the 60s sounds like a good time to you, go for it.
Yeah. This was mid.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was also boring, which contributes to the midness.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, nothing is like outright bad. It's just boring.
It made me think a lot about how the rise of home video and television, to a lesser extent before that, kind of means that today you can't just make the same movie over and over again in the same way. Like, you can't
in the same way is the important part of that. But yes.
Like, you can't just be like, here's a vampire doing vampire things.
Yeah, we don't need to go into the weeds about like how today people are making the same movie over and over again. With Marvel being a very good example of that. But
sure.
Suffice it to say of like, I think the point you're getting to is this is so very much the same that it's more than just like a swapped skin or something.
I just mean that, like, in the days when you couldn't just watch Dracula whenever you wanted, I guess it made more sense to just have your vampire be doing Dracula stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, let me tell the folks at home what the movie's about.
Yeah, for sure.
It opens with that classic vampire shot, hand coming out of the coffin, a man rising out, and we learn that this guy is Count Subotai. He goes to an underground lair and uses an organ that has been made out of bones to awaken this cult of man-bat creatures. So there's Batman, who is a man who dresses like a bat.
Yeah.
These are man-bat creatures, so they are men who have been turned into man-sized bats, basically.
They're like vampire spawn, in the sense that, like, our vampire guy made them, but for some reason, like, they dress like vampires in that they wear like black suits with like black capes, but then they all have sort of paper mache masks that make them look like versions of the Count from Sesame Street if he had bat ears. And
these aren't masks in the
story.
movie.
No,
that's just like the method of the special effects.
Yes, but they are very clearly masks because they don't blink or move their mouths or anything, and they can't talk. They make what are ostensibly bat sounds.
Yes,
but are seagull cries.
Yes. We also see these vampiric wives, who we learn are priestesses of Astaroth, because this is a full cult of Astaroth.
Astaroth, if you don't know your Christian demonology, is a Grand Duke of Hell, according to like medieval Christian demonology, which is like a whole thing. You might know Astaroth from the superpowers of Raven from Teen Titans, because she invokes Astaroth's name when she uses them. like a lot of medieval Christian demons, Astaroth is based on a misunderstanding of a Levantine god. So Astarte is a Phoenician goddess, the Phoenician form of Ishtar, a female god. And in the Hebrew Bible, they talk about like taking down statues of Astarte from like pagan temples when they destroy them. And so the Hebrew plural of Astarte, like as in we took down a lot of Astartes, meaning the statues. The Hebrew plural is Astaroth. And then in Greek and Latin, they just transliterated like we took down a lot of statues of Astaroth because they didn't understand that was like a plural for this other name. And so then by the time we get to like medieval Europeans reading Greek and Latin derived Bibles, they just think that's the name for a demon. So that's who Astaroth is. He's a linguistic misunderstanding.
Well, thank you for the demon facts, Ben.
You're welcome.
This isn't Apocryphals, but
No.
we get some of that content here. The priestesses of Astaroth are created when a woman is bitten by Count Subutai and then stabbed with this special ceremonial dagger. We see that men, they get bitten by either the Count or by these man-bats, and then they begin to turn into a man-bat. So a little bit of a biological essentialism thing going on here.
The men, as described earlier, turn into these weird papier-mâché mask guys with hair everywhere. The women just turn into like...
Vulcans.
Yeah.
Or I guess Romulans. Like they just have like the makeup of like Romulans from Star Trek.
Yeah, they just have the like pointed eyebrows.
Yeah.
And like that severe kind of look. But like they can talk.
Yeah, they talk. They can pull out the teeth. Whereas the guys are just man bats.
Yeah, in capes.
I think those are actually supposed to be wings.
No, they are just capes though. They don't look like wings. They don't act like wings. But yes, they always hold their capes out and sort of flap them around while they stand in the background.
It's very fun. I am bored and need to find something to laugh at with this movie. Okay, so Count Subutai.
He's got a cult.
And he explains this master plan that kind of goes back to when he wasn't a vampire. So like 300 years ago in Hungary or some shit like that. He was a worshiper of Astaroth, and they were about to summon him or something and turn the world into vampires, but they were stopped by a man named Coleman.
Elias Coleman,
who then stabbed Subutai in the heart with this dagger, killing him, but he turned immortal into the vampire. So, in those years since, he's been hunting down every single member of the Coleman family to take revenge, but then also growing this cult so that they can eventually turn this into, like, the world of vampires. That's the name of the movie, because they are, like, superior beings. Now, he's killed this entire family. Only one remains, who has immigrated from Hungary to, our translation said America.
They said America in the Spanish, but I think it's important to recognize that they probably mean the American continent when they say America like that, because that's a more common, like in Latin American countries, like they will use America to not just mean the United States.
Yes. So this last remaining Coleman, he's this old guy, and he has two nieces. So these are the last of the Colemans. One niece is named Leonore, and then the other one is named Mirta.
You know, the traditional Hungarian name, Coleman.
I also just like the idea of this, like, coal miner happening upon some, like, weird dude in a cave doing some kind of, like, ritual and, like, maybe accidentally killing him or something.
Right.
And this guy swearing vengeance against all coal miners.
Yeah.
Coleman. Okay, so this family, they're hosting a party because a famous pianist named Rodolfo is here. And he shares how he's studying the effect music has on the mind and the physical body, explaining that there are certain like vibrations through sound that can kill a man.
Or drive a man insane.
Drive a man insane. Which, you know, as someone who has struggled with some music, yeah, it can drive someone insane.
This is really interesting because, like, there are certain, like, tones and frequencies and vibrations that we do know have physiological effects on people and animals. And they're like, oh, you should play us some of this music. And he's like, well, you wouldn't like it because it's not like meant for, you know, pleasurable listening. And they're like, no, play it. But then like what he plays isn't like 1961 experimental music. It's just normal piano music that isn't designed for like dancing, or like it's not like easy jazz or classical waltz, but it's still like recognizably like it's just a melodic piano music.
Yeah, in like a minor key as well. Subutai is a neighbor of theirs, so he comes to this party as well. Leonor is pretty smitten with him, but Mirta is actually a bit more interested in Rodolfo. In addition to the mainstream, quote-unquote, weird experimental music that Rodolfo plays, he's also encouraged to play this one tune that pops into his head that's from Hungary. And it's like dark and weird, and it has a measurable negative impact on Subutai, who's basically like, fuck, I gotta get out of here. And Rodolfo explains like, yeah, the locals in Hungary said that this would cause like vampires to rise or be affected in some way.
Yeah, he describes it as like, you know, an ancient like Transylvanian folk music to ward off vampires kind of stuff. But again, it doesn't sound like Eastern European folk music. It just sounds like sort of low chords in a minor key.
The night of the party, after everyone's gone home, this is the night that Subutai has chosen for his bat minions to strike. So he manages to lure out Leonor and takes her back to his underground cave. The bat minions go in and kidnap Coleman, and they do plan to kidnap Mirta as well. But she's woken up because Rodolfo has decided to play the piano at 3 a.m. in the morning. What a great house guest. And she asks him to play that Hungarian theme again because it's kind of stuck in her head. And that ends up protecting them from the bat minions, that they are unaware that they are in danger. So they head back to bed, none the wiser. We see Leonor get turned into a vampire priestess creature and is sent back to the house with the order to take care of Rodolfo because he played the music that warded off the bat minions. She bites him, but then the sun rises, so Leonor has to like go hide in her room. That morning, Rodolfo wakes up and is like, that was weird, like a weird pain in my neck. Oh God, one of my hands has turned furry, as if he was turning into a werewolf or something.
Or, you know,
a man bat.
Right. Or, you know, engaging in acts of self-pleasure.
It's more than just his palm. It's the whole hand. Who are you, Kellogg's? Come on. So Mirta wakes up and she finds that Coleman's gone. They can't find Leonor. So she and Rodolfo go and try to find them by asking some of the neighbors, including Subutai. They go to the mansion and they are attacked by an unnamed hunchback who exists solely to attack them in the day. Mirta gets locked up. Rodolfo goes exploring, trying to find her, manages to get into the underground lair, sees Coleman, releases him. By that time, it's nighttime, and Subutai has gotten up and taken Mirta. She's going to get transformed into one of these like vampiric priestesses. And there's just a lot of running around in this bit of like, you know, getting lost in the caverns and, oh, there's the spike pit again. Now we're wandering over here. Quick, we got to get out before night falls. Wait, my watch has stopped. What time is it? Like, a lot of padding out of time. It's very boring in this part. Ultimately, Myrta's in danger. She's going to get turned. Rodolfo sees that there's that organ made of bones and goes up to it and starts to play that Hungarian theme. And that kills ? Or at least disarms the man bats from being able to do anything, as well as other priestesses. And so that manages him to be able to fight Subutai. He knocks Subutai into the spike pit, despite Subutai being able to turn into a bat.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
They can all turn into bats and fly, but no one remembers that when they get pushed down a pit.
Leonor kind of snaps out of the daze from the music, and they think with the death of Subutai, maybe she's saved, because with his death, Rodolfo stops transforming into a man-bat. But no, she's still a vampire, and in fact throws herself into the spike pit to follow her love. They have managed to rescue Myrta, and Coleman's like, we can't go to the police, they'd never believe us, despite the fact that there were like 50 to 60 people down here who are now all dead. The end. So some things that have changed about the vampire myth that I think are like the only interesting things going on here. This like cult part, which I think is there only to bring in the fact that it says world of the vampires. Because otherwise there's not really, we see like one ritual repeated. There's nothing else cult-like about this. I would say probably the tying of like music, which again feels only done for there to be kind of a unique element here of like, oh, they defeat them with music.
I think these are interesting elements. It's sort of a fun twist that, you know, the movie starts and the vampire already has this huge army of followers. I don't really understand why all the men are in papier-mâché masks and all the women are Vulcans. It just is so weird and kind of bad.
Yeah.
But it is a fun twist. And I think it's like, you know, it makes sense if you have this vampire who's been around for 300 years, like, why hasn't he made other vampires, right? Why doesn't he have like an army of them? And I think the music thing comes in because once you have kind of an army of monsters, you need a way to get rid of all of them at the end, right? The kind of, you know, this turns into like the, oh, if we defeat the head vampire, it gets rid of all the others. Or if you destroy the droid control ship, right? Yeah. All the droids fall over. And so the music angle gives them like an AoE effect, as it were, that can like take out all these vampires at once. But it is a fun new idea. You know, Rodolfo's kind of a bard in a way. He can like create these effects with different music, but it is kind of boringly implemented. I made fun of like the fact that his music is just normal music. Like at one point when he's showing off his like weird experimental music, he's like, yeah, you know, like my music doesn't mean anything. It's just designed to like evoke certain emotions in people. Like what does it make you feel? And it's like, that's just music, man.
Yeah.
Like it's not abnormal to have music that manipulates emotions. That's what music is for.
Yeah. And like, I kept thinking about the way that music is used in shows like Law and Order or something, where it's really just tones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, surely music hasn't changed, or at least music theory has not changed in 60 years to such a degree that like someone in the 60s wouldn't have heard tones and been like, this is unlistenable. Like,
yeah, like the thing is that he says that his music is not good to listen to. And if it really was like the kind of tones and frequencies that music scientists do use to like evoke physiological effects in people, yeah, that stuff is very bad to listen to. But this stuff that he plays, it's not even discordant.
Yeah.
It's just amelodic. Yeah. I mean, maybe the piano's not the right instrument for this kind of thing, but it's a cool idea, but it's boringly implemented because the music he plays just sounds like music.
Yeah. And I feel like they're struggle to maintain pacing really affects the ability of the movie to have any kind of atmosphere or weirdness going on. Like, even just like with the movie's own score, a lot of it is stuff that we've heard before. Like, I've recognized quite a few themes from previous movies. They are doing some set dressing to make something feel like creepy and weird with like cobwebs and spiders and stuff, but like not enough for like shadow. Everything shot pretty like far away, and like, which is really strange thinking about the way that we saw stuff with the Mexican horror movie from like a couple weeks ago, which
looked great.
Yeah, it just like envelops all of that. So it just feels very like, yeah, we're making another one of these, and let's churn it out from like these same kind of guys. And it's like, you can only milk the cow for so long, my friends.
It's got a very B-movie feel. It's got a very TV movie feel. It does have like nice sets and lots of costumes. Like, they have these big cavern sets, and they've got the mansion sets. And, you know, yes, it's like a bunch of weird paper mache masks, but there are like 50 of them. It doesn't feel cheap necessarily, but there's just not a lot of story here.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of padding, and so much stuff in here is...
I've waited 300 years to kill all the Colemans, and now you're next. You're the last one, and I'm going to kill you. But not right now. No, I want to wait for you can like see me turn Myrta.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'll do it late. I'll do it this afternoon.
Yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff. Or like when Sarah described like, hey, here's the deal with this vampire. He's got a cult and he's 300 years old and he's got like a revenge plot. Anyways, at this party, right? That thing, we get to that party at 20 minutes into the movie. The first 20 minutes are like Subutai playing the organ and gathering his bat minions and creating a priestess and explaining his backstory. You know, with his own very Hungarian name of Sergio Subutai.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of padding that way. As Sarah described, when they get to the castle and they're going down through the tunnels, it's a lot of running around tunnels back and forth. Whenever someone's going to play some music, like we sit and we listen to the music for a long amount of time, just everything takes a long time. And I think a large part of that is just there's not a lot of story, because what story there is other than the music element and the blood feud element, which, to be fair, like, I do like the idea that like vampires as immortal beings can carry on like blood feuds for like hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
That's a fun idea. But like Subutai is exactly Dracula.
Down to the costume.
Yeah. Like, he's wearing one of those like black vampire capes you get at like a Spirit Halloween, and then like the evening like white tie, and then dress, and then he's got like the little metal thing, and he...
Oh, you mean his brooch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he's like, he is just Dracula.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, he lives at the ruined mansion by the cemetery next door to like us. And us is like two girls, one of them who's into him, one of whom isn't, and like their elderly uncle or whatever. It's like, this is just Dracula. This is just the stage play Dracula, but with like, he has an army of minions and a vendetta, and also there's some piano playing.
Yeah, imagine if David Manners could play the piano.
Right. And looked exactly like Clark Gable.
Yeah, an old
yeah.
Clark Gable.
Yes, because Mauricio Garcés really does just look like Mexican Clark Gable. So if that was his goal, he achieved his goal. I do think the actors are well cast for their appearances.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Guillermo Murray looks like a vampire guy, like the traditional Count Dracula style vampire. The actress who plays Leonore has a good look for like essentially a Lucy type, right? Like the women are attractive, the men look their parts. I don't know about their performances, but like visually they look the part.
The performances are fine.
Yeah. It's not terrible. It's competently made, right? Like, this isn't poorly done. It's just kind of boring in stretches, because it's like, oh, and now here's a TV Star Trek style fight scene as they like roll over these couches for 10 minutes. There's like a bit with this. There's a lot of stuff that's in here just because it's in Universal horror movies, right? Right down to like the hunchback assistant who gets no name and no explanation. He's Two scenes. He's clearly here to be like the Renfield-esque kind of figure who can go and do Subutai's business like during the day or whatever. But he doesn't do anything. He has no explanation. He's just here because it's like, yeah, monsters have hunchback assistants, right? And the scene where he like chases Rodolfo and Mirta around the house when they show up, like literally they're in like the living room and he chases Mirta in kind of a circle
around giant tables
back to like the living room. Like it's there's a lot of padding here. It's not bad, but this is like, 20 minutes of story in an 80-minute package.
I appreciate what they were going for with the paper mache masks. I don't think they were particularly successful, but I think the design was neat, and I think it was an interesting idea that they attempted. We see a lot of the rubber bats. Mm-hmm. They feature quite heavily. Mm-hmm. They do the classic flap in place.
Yep.
And there's this one amazing moment. So Leonore has been turned and she's hiding in her room. And she's hiding as a bat. And we see her up in the rafters. And Mirta and Rodolfo are looking around her room. And we'll see a close-up of the bat going under the rafters to like look and flapping back up to hide. And cut to the two of them searching like, oh, did you hear something? And then cut back to Bat Leonore flapping down, looking, flapping back up. And it does this 4 times. Mm-hmm. And so there are moments where you have to laugh, but I don't think it's doing it for a comedic purpose.
No, and this is an example of how like kind of the whole movie is, right?
Yes.
Anything that can be done once is done a lot to pad out time, right?
They they do have one moment where Leonore's bat gets her head superimposed in like a cross dissolve thing. I fucking love it. That's like the one moment I fucking love about this movie. But as Ben kind of mentioned in the plot synopsis, these bats, they decided to use the sound effect of seagulls. And I'm not paraphrasing, I'm not trying to be facetious. It's not like a seagull. It is literally gulls.
Yeah.
And it is distracting.
It's just like...
At least in the devil bat, it's like the screeching thing, right? Like, nah! Like...
It's so weird that like they never use bat sounds.
Yeah.
Like even going all the way back to Bela Lugosi Dracula, it was kind of like a...
Squeak, squeak, squeak.
Yeah, like a mouse or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Which feels like, okay, it's a mouse with wings.
Yeah.
I can see how we got here.
Like everybody knows that bats should be making these like high-pitched cries or whatever, but it's like, I don't know. It reminds me of that joke on The Simpsons about like, oh, horses don't look like horses on film. You got to use cows and paint them. And like, it's like, oh, real bat sounds wouldn't sound right. So we're using seagulls or whatever.
Yeah. The red-tailed hawk and bald eagle controversy.
Yes, exactly.
Controversy is not the right word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So yeah, some points here for being kind of the first vampire movie where the vampire has like a large number of minions, and we have like these like weird subhuman kind of vampire creatures. Like that's kind of new, and the music angle's kind of new, and the blood feud thing is kind of new, but everything else is like very much just Dracula.
And not done particularly like stunningly.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like I said at the top, if you've got an hour and a half to kill and this is your kind of movie, sure.
Would you like to move on to ranking?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sarah, I have a really big range.
I have a very narrow range.
Okay.
So you go first.
Yeah, I'll go first, and hopefully your narrow range is inside my big range. So I agree with you. This movie felt very mid. So I looked for the middle of the list, which is around, 151, Dr. Renault's Secret. And then I was like, no, this is worse. So I started looking down, trying to find where my ceiling should be. And where I landed was 194, which is the 1956 version of Yatsia Kaiden. Because I was like, well, this is definitely worse than Curse of the Cat People, right?
Yeah.
The 56 version of Yatsia Kaiden is pretty forgettable. Right below that is stuff like Lady and the Monster, The Invisible Man's Revenge, where I was like, maybe this is better than that stuff, but it's definitely worse than Curse of the Cat People. So 194 is kind of my ceiling here. That's as high as I'll go. And then I was looking down to try and find, okay, what is this definitely better than? And so I'm going through a bunch of mid-tier movies while occasionally passing by stuff like, Pica Via Dama or Bride of the Monster, which I could see being better than this. And where I landed was Monster on the Campus, 230, which is not very interesting as a movie. It's just that professor turning into the monster in his...
Oh, yeah, because the coelacanth DNA.
Yeah, and they just kind of keep running back and forth around the campus between his lab or outside. And right below that is La Momia Azteca. So I thought, okay, this might be better than those, and I made my floor 230. So 194 to 230 is my range.
I have bad news.
Oh no, are you outside?
Yes.
Are you below?
Yes.
Okay, where are you looking?
So I remembered that when we covered the context setting, you said that a lot of the guys who made this movie also made a lot of these earlier Mexican movies. So some of those ones that stand out as particularly high ranking is El Atado del Vampiro, which is at number 76, El Hombre y el Monstruo at 93, and then also La Momia Azteca 231. Now, the thing about those movies is they are, I feel like El Hombre y el Monstruo a little bit less so, but they are adapting something that's that universal thing into a Mexican context. Mm-hmm. La Momia Azteca with the mummy, but it's Aztec and, a little bit of a different context. El Atado del Vampiro and El Vampiro, Dracula in Mexico, and El Hombre y el Monstruo, Jekyll and Hyde.
Right.
They're doing such a great job adapting that thing into this context, whereas El Mundo de los Vampiros does not feel like it's adapting anything. It's just riffing off of Dracula and trying to throw in some new things, and none of it really comes together in a way that feels exciting or enticing.
It's just another vampire movie.
Yeah. So I felt like, based on that sense of originality, it should go below La Momia Azteca at 231. And as I continued looking around, I even felt that this didn't sit right with me because there's movies that are The Invisible Ray, Man Beast, which we really liked. A lot of stuff that has weird elements that they're doing weird things that has something interesting, even when it can be a bit of a mess, like Jungle Woman, Monster from the Ocean Floor, and even Plan 9 is down here. So I really feel like the boring midness of El Mundo really hurts it when it comes to ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, my eyes settled when I got to a very small range of 4 movies.
Oh, okay.
At 287 is The Beast of Yucca Flats.
That movie's terrible.
That movie is fucking terrible. It's made terribly. So I knew we were definitely going above Yucca Flats. So that was my floor.
Got it.
Looking above that, we have Ein Toter hing im Netz, that's Spider Island, with all the sexy chicks.
Yeah.
La Casa del Terror, which is the one where it's Lon Chaney in Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
So that one has it's a little sad. They're kind of mixing it some things. Does it work? Does it not? And then Sedok, so Atom Age Vampire, so that's the Italian movie. At 283 is Attack of the Giant Leeches, which has such a soft spot in my heart. So I was like, okay, I don't feel comfortable going above Attack of the Giant Leeches because it's like a lot more interesting to me. So my range is 283 to 287.
Okay. If that's the case, I think I would put this above La Casa del Terror, which is like a little sad to watch, and below Sedok.
Yeah. Are you okay going this far down? That's about 50 spots below where you had been looking.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I think you're right that this should go below La Momia Azteca. I was kind of thinking like La Momia Azteca is very like borderline horror movie to me. It was more like a family adventure movie in some ways.
Yeah.
And I felt like this was at least like identifiably a horror movie. But I think you're right about the unique qualities of those films, and I'm okay with coming down this far.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go with this.
Okay, entering the list at the new number 285 is El Mundo de los Vampiros from 1961, directed by Alfonso Corona Blake.
If you would like to see this list, you can go to our website, screamscenepodcast.com. There you can find links to the other episodes that we have mentioned today. You can take a look to see all of the other Mexican horror movies we've covered thus far, as well as our appeals box. If you would like to contest this or any other ranking, please reach out to us through our Ask Box on Tumblr, over email at screamscenepodcast@gmail.com, or over Blue Sky.
Scream Scene updates every other Wednesday on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and a variety of other podcasting apps. If you'd like to make sure you never miss an episode, subscribe to our RSS feed. If you want to help the show out, give us a rating or a review on your podcasting app of choice, tell a friend about the show, or head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/ScreamScenePodcast, where you can become a patron of the night for as little as $1 a month. Patrons at the $5 and $10 levels get access to regular cool bonus content. So head on over to patreon.com/ScreamScenePodcast to check that out.
So Ben, what are we watching next week?
Next week, Sarah, we are going back to Japan. For the first 1960s version of our old friend Yatsuya Kaiden. This time with the title Kaiden Oiwa Nobore, which means The Tale of Oiwa's Ghost.
At least it's a different title than Yatsuya Kaiden, because we have 2 or 3 on the list.
We have 3. No, we have 2 Yatsuya Kaidens and 1 Tokaido Yatsuya Kaiden. We have covered 4 overall, but the 1941 Yatsuya Kaiden didn't make it onto the list.
Right. So at least with a different name, it'll help us like have it stick out separately.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, so far, at least Tokaido Yatsuya Kaiden's been easy because it's been the best one.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll see how Kaiden Oiwa Nobore stacks up next week.
We will see you then, creatures of the night.
Bye.
Bye.